Okay, so I was reading one of those time-wasting things online. Blog, that's it. Anyway, the one I was reading was a tirade from some way out lefty going off about how the mainstream media is so right-wing. I guess when you're that far left, everything looks right. Well, wrong, but, to them, but right side of the spectrum. You know what I'm talking about. It was actually kind of funny to me because normally it's my right-wing friends that are always crying about the left side's media dominance. But you can find people at every extreme of the political spectrum claiming that the media is working against them. Especially if media is trying to maintain any credibility and show both sides of an issue. Like that ever happens. So the whole thing makes me wonder, is there really a media bias? And if so, which wing is clipped? Now we could go through hundreds or even thousands of individual stories from major news publications, sift through them, substantiate their claims, and try to unbiasedly rank them and their authors on some kind of elaborate scale to determine what bias there is, if any, but that would take more than the 5 minutes, which at this point I'm willing to invest. So instead, let's just cut to the chase and follow the money. It's really all about economics. First of all, supply does not create demand. Just because I have a lot of something doesn't mean anybody wants it. And it certainly doesn't mean they're willing to pay for it. Second, in a free market, generally speaking, if enough people demand something, supply will be soon to follow. That is, provided the suppliers have access to capital and the people are free to purchase what they want. And third, markets for information and media, just like ones for other goods and services, move in the direction of equilibrium. But this is kind of a hot topic, so before we dive in, take a moment. Try to leave your bias behind you. Not likely, but try anyway. And be prepared for something you don't want to hear. Here it comes. Point 1, Rush Limbaugh. Oh, I'm so sorry. According to the New York Times, his salary is larger than the annual salaries of the 4 best paid news anchors on network television. Combined. A paycheck fatter than he is. It doesn't matter if you love him, hate him, or like me, ignore him. It doesn't even matter if he's right or wrong. The thing that matters is demand. That kind of salary imbalance screams that people believe the major news networks need to be balanced out with more right-wing, right-of-center content. It's pretty solid economics, and because he's been around for over 2 decades, it definitely isn't a flash in the pan or some short-term knee-jerk reaction. If we assume that the current media market is in equilibrium, then there's clearly an audience out there that wants a lot of slightly liberal material on the one side, balanced out by an extremely conservative pundit on the other. Pundit. It's like a teeter-totter in real life, with Katie Couric, Anderson Cooper, and Brian Williams on one end, and Rush on the other. And I think it would balance out. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Point 2, Fox News. Do you remember that high school person who always had to remind you how open-minded they are? It's one of the surest indications that they aren't. Fox News claims to be fair and balanced. Right. Okay, maybe if you look at the market as a whole, their right-wing commentary serves to balance out the other far more numerous left-leaning cable news channels. Again, it's a case of equilibrium in the media market, not equilibrium within Fox itself. Because at the end of the day, nobody's fair and balanced, except the money. Most politically charged talk show hosts are exactly the same. Their job is essentially to stir the pot and get people mad at each other. Being fair and logically presenting an issue from both sides never has been and never will be part of the show. Why? Probably because you have an abundance of choices for liberally slanted news and far fewer conservatively biased options. Let's take a look at Glenn Beck and Keith Olbermann. 2 flip sides of the same coin. Except that one of them has way better ratings and despite massive protests that have led to a loss of commercial sponsors, is still on the air. Point 3. If all of this seems unbelievable to you, you need to do your own survey. Go to the local college and start asking journalism students questions like, which party do you belong to and how do you feel about abortion, big government, and military versus social spending? You know, the easy questions. I really don't think you're going to find too many hard-charging, card-carrying conservatives in the journalism program. And these are the people who will be researching the facts, writing the stories, anchoring the nightly news, and putting their own personal and political spin on it. So there you have it. The only way you can really know if there's a media bias is to ask the one thing that isn't biased itself. The market. You know, financial or educational. Follow the money. I mean, if no one were listening to Rush Limbaugh or Fox News, they would have been relegated to the public access or some backwater corner of the internet reserved for crazy people. But love them, hate them, or ignore them, they get an astounding amount of money and viewers, and they're likely popular simply because there is a bit of a left-leaning mainstream media bias. Backwater corner of the internet reserved for crazy people? You mean our show, don't you?
Go.
Most politically charged